Hey everyone, it's Allie, and in today's video, I want to talk about how I made my first 1000 Flame Elementium in Season 9 of Torchlight, as I am a relatively new player to the game myself, and I want this to be a learning opportunity for everyone else who's just starting to play the game themselves on how to go about making currency in the early game. We're going to go over quite a few tips on how to go about selling stuff and what exactly is worth selling, and at the same time, I'm going to give you a strategy that you should very easily be able to use on any build to make yourself quite a bit of money. That strategy is not meant to be a super endgame strat, but it should be more than enough to get literally any build going with not even a penny to your name. So let's get into it, let's discuss everything, and let's get you on your way to having more money to play with. To begin with, let's talk about that strategy that I mentioned, as that's going to easily be the single most impactful thing you could do when it comes to your early game progression. While most things don't really make you that much money because either most mechanics are locked until higher levels or just kind of suck, there's one strategy you could do that pretty much is guaranteed to make you a decent chunk of money, allowing you to buy whatever sort of legendary items you might need for your build and making your progression simple. And that is simply just going to be boss rushing. The basic gist of the strategy is pretty simple. We're going to come over to commodity constellation and basically just pick up all of it. Most of these nodes simply are just going to make it so bosses in your maps are going to give significantly more loots, whether it's crafting components, respec items, or just netherrealm resources. And we can pick up a chance for additional bosses to appear, meaning we get even more free loot pinatas in every single zone that we go through. With this, you are going to give yourself quite a lot of really nice to haves. So if you want to do a lot of crafting for yourself, you just simply keep all of your embers and just use them to roll. And this is going to completely take care of all of your netherrealm resonances, meaning you could put 2 and eventually 3 mods on every single zone that you go to. So you just get even more loot and beacons, so your progression's even smoother. On top of this, we're going to also be going over to the beacon constellation and pick up all the nodes at the left and the bottom, which should completely take care of any sort of beacon sustain that you might care about up until tier 7, making your progression super smooth. In terms of the order I'd recommend for you to pick this up in, go and grab the netherrealm resonance nodes first, followed by the boss nodes. And if your build has somewhat weak single target damage, maybe just stop before this medium node, as it will make the extra boss that spawn 50% stronger. But no matter what, please do not pick up this last node, as it will just make it so bosses drop 100% less loot, which is pretty bad. From there, it's up to you on what you want to pick up next. I'd probably recommend to go grab the winding keys. It is only 4 points, and these are worth quite a bit of money right now. The only thing to mention here is don't pick up the Star Shard nodes until you're in Time Arc 7, as they literally do not do anything until then. After you go and grab yourself the netherrealm resonances, the boss nodes, and then either the Ember or the Elixir of Oblivion nodes, I'd recommend to come over to beacon nodes and come and grab all this, as you will start struggling with beacon sustain around Time Arc 3, Time Arc 4, where it might get a little bit rough. And this will just completely fix that. The final thing to mention here is once you get to Time Arc 7, you unlock the Frozen Canvas constellation. And here we're going to go grab the nodes on the left, which give you guaranteed steel paper fragments, which is basically another half a Flame Elementium per boss that you kill. It's just nice, consistent currency. Once you do go and kill the Traveler in Time Arc 7, you are going to get points in the Profound Constellation. And here I'd recommend for you to immediately pick up this one, which gives you a 25% chance for 4 bosses, which is where the strategy really picks up. Up until this point, you're probably going to make about 150 Flame Elementium in total, which is pretty solid. And once you do get this node, this strategy in Time Arc 7 should make you somewhere around maybe 50 or so Flame Elementium an hour, which while isn't very high, should be more than enough to get you 200, 300, 400 Flame Elementium. And then from there, you can get yourself some gear and move on to a more high-end strategy. While this strategy could theoretically be pushed a lot higher with things such as picking up this node with your Time Arc 8 Traveler kill, where you can now start using the boss compasses, by that point, I really would suggest to do something else, as there's other strategies that should be able to make you significantly more currency than what this can do. One final thing I want to mention about the strategy is that there will be a link in the description below for it, where there'll just be a pro build link that you can simply copy paste, come over to Quick Loots, and in here you just click enter build code, paste it in here, and you'll see all the information on it here. If you simply click apply all and then go over to your void charts, you'll see every single thing in here recommended, so you don't really have to remember everything I said, and you just follow along with the stars, as long as you remember to not pick up the Star Shard nodes until you get to Time Arc 7. What I want to go over at the end of the video is to just talk about some tips that I very quickly learned as I progressed through that either helped me just progress faster or just made me more money, which allowed me to buy better upgrades or any sort of legendary items that I might need that allowed me to progress with no issues. The biggest of these tips that I really need to drill into your head is to always keep liquidating everything you don't need. You, at any time, can just go open up the trade house and then just go over to your currency tab, which is likely where most of this stuff is going to just linger. And you could probably find several FE worth of stuff just sitting there collecting dust that you might not need. While sure, some of this stuff you might want to get in the future and use yourself, that's kind of far off. And realistically, you'd probably be better off just having raw FE to then go purchase some sort of big, powerful, unique item that might push your build further quicker. Good example of this is these memory threads I have in my inventory. This is just 13 FE sitting here collecting dust doing nothing. I also have another 2 FE worth of energy cores, 3 FE worth of energy elixirs, 2 FE of precious embers, and 4 FE of transcendence pledges. The point is, if I were to go liquidate all this, I'd probably make an extra 40 FE right now, which, while at this point, I wouldn't really care too much about. While you're progressing, that might be the difference between struggling for a little bit. One thing to keep in mind here is if that seems a little bit too annoying for you to do to constantly sell stuff, it's actually really simple to just offload a bunch of random junk like this onto the auction house really quickly. All you have to do is just click on the item you want to sell, click price check to see all the different offers, and then all you do is just click on the ratio that you like, and then the game will automatically price whatever you have at the correct price for the correct total amounts. With this, I just click for sale and then that's it. I just wait for someone to come buy this as long as I price it at a reasonable level. Finally, I just want to talk a little bit about what kind of items are worth selling and what aren't. Obviously, currency is always going to be something that people want for one reason or another. And if you can't really do Time Mark 8 content yet, I would recommend for you just immediately go sell every single Time Mark 8 beacon that you get, as they're worth anywhere between 4 to 5 Flame Elementium each. And every time you go and fight the Plane Watcher, the big boss in any of the regions that you may be farming, you are going to be guaranteed 1 Time Mark 8 beacon, or 2 if you're doing Time Mark 7.2. This just makes every one of those bosses always worth at least 10 Flame Elementium, so they're worth to constantly go and do, which is why we pick up all the Star Shard nodes towards the end of the boss rush tree. You're also going to get yourself a few compasses, and those are things that are pretty much always in high demand. Almost all of them instantaneously sell with a few exceptions, so just keep on the lookout for those and sell them as you get them. Finally, just keep in mind that in this game, there's a lot of different avenues to make your character better, and pretty much almost every mechanic in the game has its purpose, meaning that if you get something from a certain mechanic, it's likely something someone's just going to want because it's something they need to progress their character at whatever stage they're at. The only thing that's not really worth bothering with is gear, especially a few days into the season, as most stuff you're going to find, especially before Time Mark 8, is just going to be complete junk. Gear is spread into 3 brackets. Everything below item level 82, which can only roll tier 3 mods, which just immediately becomes irrelevant. Everything from item level 83 to item level 86, which can roll tier 2 and are typically only really sought after if you just end up getting yourself a really well-rolled one that has a bunch of stats that make sense together. And then from item level 86 and beyond, items can roll with tier 1 mods on it. And at that point, when you're in Time Mark 7 and can start seeing those on the ground, if you do happen to have one that rolls with 1 or 2 tier 1 mods that make sense, that'll likely fetch you at least 5 or 10 Flame Elementium, but personally, I wouldn't really worry too much about it. I just recommend at least until you get to Time Mark 8 and can see Precious Gear, which is item level 100 gear that has special mods on them, to just simply recycle all of it, as you're likely just going to be wasting your time trying to sell it, and you should only really consider it if it's an upgrade for you and you want to craft it into something slightly better. With all that, hopefully this is going to make your progression a little bit smoother. Pretty much everything I said in this video is exactly what either I personally followed or did to make my first 1,000 or so Flame Elementium. At this point, I'm simply just rocking through Time Mark 8 content, having a great time, and at this point, starting to farm several thousands of Flame Elementium a day and, well, just having a great time. In the next few days, I would like to talk about some of the other farming strategies that I'm doing, as obviously boss rushing is not going to be something you're going to want to do forever, and you can expect a few more farming videos on whatever I try out and have a good time with, or is very profitable. If you have any questions on anything we discuss here, feel free to leave a comment in the comments below, and I'd be more than happy to help you as soon as I can, or feel free to stop by my stream and ask me any of your questions there, or if you simply want to come and join our community and hang out with all the other kitties, feel free to stop by our stream or join our Discord at any point. With all that said, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, and I'll see you all in the next video.